Hey everyone, Warwick's here. So we're back with another reaction video. I'm going to adjust this camera just a little bit. There we go. We're back with another reaction video. This one is going to be from, of course, my favorite singer on the planet right now, Geoff Castellucci. He just released a cover of Chris Isaak's Wicked Game, which initially I was like, wait a sec, I think I know this song. And then I heard the chorus and I was like, yeah, I know this song. So Chris Isaak, if you've ever heard him before, not a bass. So this will be a very interesting way, see what Jeff's going to do with this cover here. Um, but I'm really looking forward to it. So we're going to get into it here in just a moment. Before we get into that, real quick, guys, just a couple housekeeping items. One, if you enjoyed this content, remember to like, share, and subscribe. I actually checked my analytics the other day, and something like 90% of people that watch my videos don't subscribe to my channel. It's completely free to you and helps me out a lot. So just go that way, down that way, and see if you're subscribed. That's all I ask. I'm not asking for much here, I don't think. I just want you to be able to support me in just any small way. So, for those of you that are new to the channel, I do want to welcome you in. For those of you that are veterans of the channel, I want to take the time to say welcome back. It's good to see you again. So for those of you that are new, just to kind of break down how I do these videos real quick, and then we'll get into a little bit on me, and then we'll get to the video, the reason you're here. So if I've never seen this video, which this one I haven't, then what I do is I do two listen throughs in my videos. The first one, I don't pause. I do nothing. All you're going to get is this fat head in the bottom left corner of your screen reacting to whatever it is that I'm seeing here on this video. I'll do like a quick initial gut impression discussion, and then we'll go back in a second time and I'll do a second listen through where I'll pause and break down things that I think are really cool, things that I think are really interesting, maybe try to figure out what is his purpose behind doing XYZ thing. So I just try to get into a little bit of an analysis side of things. So YouTube hates this structure, but everyone that I've ever talked to or communicated with loves this way that it's done. And I personally, I love this way as well. When I first started doing it, I wasn't sure that people would enjoy it, and I got instant feedback that it was great. So I've been doing it that way ever since. I don't monetize this channel, so don't really care anyways about the monetization aspect of it. So quick background on me. My name is Corey. I go by Works on all of the social channels because that's my online gaming name, and this channel was first and foremost dedicated to my online gaming name. I'm not a professional musician. I'm just a guy that loves music. I've been doing these videos since right around June of 2022. I started it with May the Bass Be With You Volume 2. Peter Barber of the Bass Gang was actually the reason that I started doing these videos because he inspired me to do them. They became a fun creative outlet. And I grinded them really hard for a long time, burnt myself out, and now I've taken a much more measured approach to how I do these videos. So they're not as often, and I don't cover as much content maybe as some other reactors do. But these are mainly for me just to have fun for the most part. So that's a little bit on me. So again, appreciate you joining me for this little intro here. I'm trying to keep them under 4 minutes. I might actually succeed this time. And we're going to take a look and see what's going on here with Geoff. We're going to get my logo out here, and we're going to come to this screen. You can't see it behind my body here, but this is almost a 5-minute cover, or I'm assuming it's going to be like 4.5 minutes, which is about the length of the song. So be very curious to see what happens. So let me make sure that I've got these cranked up. Actually, let me make sure they're even on. Turn this up a little bit. Oh, I just turned my headphones off. I'm smart, guys, I promise. Come on. Come on, headphones. Start. There we go. All right. Sorry about that. Without further ado, let's get into Wicked Game originally by Chris Isaak, a bass singer cover by the king of bass, Geoff Castellucci.
The world was on fire and no one could save me but you. Strange what desire will make foolish people do. And I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you. And I never dreamed that I'd lose somebody like you. No, I don't wanna fall in love with save me but you. Strange what desire will make foolish people do. I never dreamed that I'd love somebody like you. I never dreamed that I'd lose somebody like you. No, I don't wanna fall in love. 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 No, I don't wanna fall in love with you. With you. Nobody loves no one.
Okay. Interesting.
Hey y'all,
Let's hear the Geoff
Geoff
message.
here. Just wanted to say thank you so much for watching and subscribing. Y'all are the absolute best. Speaking of best, huge shout out to everyone over at Patreon who make these videos possible, but especially Huldra Draco, Mytho Smiths, Tema Krempley, Helen Anderson, Diane Holland, Sarah
All right, we're gonna let that go then. So overall, I think this was my first impressions are that this is definitely not one of my favorite Geoff covers. I think there are a ton more that I really like, that are even in like these slower, more melodic keys that he's done in the past. I think his version of Till Then, for example, is tremendous. And it's not that Geoff isn't capable of doing these more slow, kind of almost melodramatic songs. Like, absolutely capable of doing it. And I'm sure I'm going to go back and listen to this in like 2 or 3 days, and it's just going to be great. Some of it also is that like Wicked Game, it's a fine song. I don't think it doesn't have anything that makes it like in that list of all time, but and the song itself is very like it's very limited musically in terms of what it's done, and it's on purpose. Like it's the whole song is supposed to focus more on Chris Isaac's voice and like his very sort of specific vocal timbre, and in this case, it's a song that's definitely aimed at lyrics. So musically, it's very, very simple. That said, I still think Geoff did some pretty cool things with this video, and I'm looking forward to going back in and doing a second listen on see what potentially I missed, just focusing more on the main point. So if you're here for just the reaction, that's the end of the video for you. Appreciate you taking the time for me today. For those of you that want to stick around and go longer, let's dive into it. First, as always, let's do the credits. So let's see. So Ed Boyer did this. Production manager. It's filmed in Orlando. Let's see. Yeah, not really. I thought this might have been Patty. So it doesn't say where it's at. I don't know if it's at Patty Cake Productions or if it's anywhere else, but it could be. But yeah, as usual, Geoff does like 99% of the work. And then Ed Boyer does his mixing engineering, and his wife, Kathy, does their production stage. Very simple set here. Looks like an in-process construction thing. They just basically wheeled his piano in here, and we're like, all right, we're filming. Set up 4 or 5 cameras, and off we go. So very, very simple, which again, I think matches the aesthetic of the song, which is a pretty simple song. But yeah, so I think we're good here. Let's kind of dive into this.
The world was on fire and no one could save me
So he starts off with this incredibly breathy bass, something that, he's obviously capable of, but he's not. I don't think his breathy bass is what he's really known for. He's known for having a very, very clear sound, one that mixes a good bit of like power and clarity together. And then, of course, his subharmonics, which are, I think, among the best in the bass singing community. So the hymn start off with this very breathy bass, and it's to the point that you actually hear the breath escaping with his words. Like, listen to this first line.
Fire and no one could save me but you.
Especially on you. Like, for me, that didn't have like any air coming out, but it almost sounds like he's breathing out, going, you, something like that, except it sounds good and not whatever demonic sound just came out of my mouth. So very like breathy, very, very pulled back, which I mean, he's going to be throughout this whole song. The song is not about it showing off the power of your voice. It's very mellow and dramatic. So you're going to have a sound that feels pulled back a little bit.
Strange what desire will make foolish people do. And I never dreamed that I'd meet somebody like you. And I never.
The really interesting thing here, again, still that breathy pulled back bass, but right here in the background after he goes, meet someone like you hear this like almost reverb in the background. That's very interesting to me.
Like you. And I never dreamed that I'd lose somebody like you. No, I don't wanna fall in love.
Yeah, so really interesting things going on with his piano here, where it almost feels like it's weirdly crescendoing, which is really hard to do on a piano. So I'm assuming that's some audio engineering that Ed did in the background. Um, we get into the main line of the chorus, where most people know the that really high one that I'm not capable of doing because I've been talking a lot today, so my voice is trash right now. But to take it, I think probably 2 or 3 octaves down from what Chris Isaac does originally, fits with what Geoff's arrangement's doing, but was actually to me a little jarring because when I listened to the original song, I listened to the original one yesterday. I meant to do it yesterday, and then things happened. Record this yesterday, but then things happened. But it's Tuesday as I record this, by the way. But overall, like, it's one of those things where like I said, it feels jarring almost to hear the initial chorus line that is iconic, is the iconic part of this song. I don't know if it's iconic in the sense that it's iconic in music, but it's iconic for this song. Be this low was kind of almost weird. Not in a bad way. I mean, he's beautifully singing it. It just, when you listen to the original and then you come to this one, it's almost discombobulating about how he's approaching it. And again, I don't think it's all bad.
With you. With you.
The other thing that I find impressive about this is that he's sitting down, I'm assuming, into like low to 1 octave with his notes here. I'm not a good note identifier, someone tell me. So he's starting off just hanging out in like, the first octave, which is really low. And then to have just that type of consistency in his voice, that consistency in breath, but still come across with a level of clarity that is like distinct, I find pretty impressive. And it's really good control for someone that is not a great singer. Like, I sing in my car and I think I sound great, and it's usually because I just have the music cranked up a little bit louder, and so I feel like I blend. I don't. I've heard myself sing outside of that. I will eventually post a video of me singing like Misty Mountains or something, but that day it's not today. And again, we get that like reverb in the background here, and it's kind of almost transitioning these 16 bars worth of music or so, if I'm thinking I'm doing the counting right in my head. These are nice little transitions between like a section A, section B, now section C here, which is your main melody line. Very, very cool. I really like the audio mixing choice, and it adds just enough of a contrast to the kind of slow and melodic. And like if you just left that in silence, it would hang in a way that's awkward. So to have this little like reverb fill here really connects the two sections together quite nicely.
What a wicked game you play to make me feel this way. What a wicked thing to do to let me dream of you.
Really like our, not maracas, I can't remember the instrument, but they're basically maracas that don't have anything inside of them, and they have like this veil draped over them, and you hold them upside down and you shake them. Cannot remember their name right now. Oh, high school percussionist me would be so angry with me right now. But again, just adding a nice little bit of depth to the music going on in the background beyond just him singing and the piano and your kind of very basic drum kit, which is, if I recall from listening to both songs in the last 2 days, pretty much the same, which is interesting and cool. So, but again, like what we're starting to see now is now we're starting to what I feel like get to the whole point in how he wanted to approach this arrangement musically is he starts really low and then he builds up and he keeps climbing octave wise in his note patterns. So these weren't as low as what we're getting at the start before we get into Geoff tenor, before it drops back down at the end where he resolves and starts is back where he started, which is a good way to end the song in my opinion. So I think that's kind of what he was thinking about the approach, is that everyone knows Chris Isaac is this great tenor singer. Geoff, obviously the king of bass in my opinion, but has a good tenor range. He's going to decide to just kind of tease you out almost, I think, in what he wanted to do with this song and kind of build up to something that sounds very much like the original Chris Isaac and the range that where they overlap.
What a wicked thing to say.
Here's the next step up.
You never felt this way. What a wicked thing to do to make me dream of you. No,
With the drum kit, did he use, I know like in Icy Fire, I talked about how it felt and sounded like it was brushes on a snare drum. And a lot of people told me in the comments of that video that he basically was just sliding a shovel and tapping it onto like a mound of dirt, which produces a similar sound, but to me is not as clean as using brushes on a drum would be. And as a little bit of a snob in that regard, I would have preferred if he used the brushes. But is he using that same thought process here with he's not using a traditional hi-hat. There's no cymbal sound to it, but he's using what sounds like brushes on a drum, or is he using that same technique with, messing around with sounds on a shovel and dirt? I'm really curious. If someone knows, because it was on Patreon or something like that, please let me know. I'm curious. It really stood out to me here.
make me dream of you. No, I don't wanna fall in love. No, I don't wanna fall in love with you.
Again, this little distorted reverb in the background connecting these sections together. It's a theme that I'm noticing so far in this song that I think is really cool, and it's a nice way to reward listeners that are really listening to the musicality of it and are not just focusing on the lyric side of it.
Strange what desire will make for.
So here we get a little bit of a break. You normally would expect, again, connecting these sections, you would expect that reverb to happen because that's what we've gotten this whole time. Here he plays with your expectations and goes complete silence in between the one line. You get this full note, full one beat of rest. But then what to me enhances this little section is that when he goes, you actually hear his intake of breath. I think it's fully intentional to do that, because I know generally speaking, when singers go, you don't want to hear them go all the time when they're singing. You don't want to hear that. It almost takes away from what's going on. But here it's intentional, because with the way that the song is drawn up, it almost adds something to it where you hear him before he starts going in. It's really, I think, interesting how you can play with something as simple as taking a breath to sing more notes and make it fit into the musicality of it all. It's really clever. I think great singers do it all the time, and it's really, really interesting. Right here.
Strange what is
Very soft, very subtle, but it's there.
I will make foolish people do.
And then we get this really cool change again. Geoff, and generally in speaking in his arrangements, always does something both musically and visually that is either a really smart way to transition the video, or a really smart way to transition the song and go. Here we just get him going deep. He's going into these very breathy, I'm assuming chest notes. I don't think I heard a single subharmonic in here at all. So it's all chest. So he's going to this really like breathy chest, and then you get this little like whoop, that reverb type sound again, along with a cut to black camera cut to a different shot of Geoff, and now we're getting the harmonies with the main Geoff and then all of the background Geoffs going. So you go from having like nothing to just a wall of sound. It's a really cool kind of variation of certain techniques that are used a lot, where you do a lot of build, drop, let something sit there and shine, and then you bring back everything else in. I know that's a technique that many there's a certain video creator that I know really loves that. This is a twist on that, where he actually lets everything fall. You get this moment of silence to create tension, because you're like, what's going to happen? And then he comes in with this just wall of sound where he's, again, keeping up with the theme of the song. He steps up another step up the ladder, so to speak, in his vocal range. Very, very smart, in my opinion. And I really like the way that he approached it. It wasn't even a full beat. It was literally like an eighth note of a beat. And then we come in here. But it's enough to create that tension and then come back in. It's really smart. I really, really like it.
I love somebody like you.
Here's that reverb. Or not even reverb. It's just like, I guess, him in the background. With it being audio mixed to sound like a bass guitar, just like someone running their fingernails along a string of a bass guitar. It's the vibe that I get from it. So just really cool stuff there. And again, it's connecting these sections together in ways that keep it interesting musically without sounding boring.
I dream that I lose somebody like you. No, I don't wanna fall.
He's almost teasing you here. Because here you would expect him to jump. No, something like that. Better than what I just sang that there. You know, but he didn't jump. He kept here, and it's almost teasing you again. He wants to build tension to pull you along, so that when he does jump into this tenor range in the next little bit here, it feels more impactful.
No,
Again, teasing.
I don't wanna fall in love.
You hear the reverb in the background. Boom. Really smart use of musicality there, in my opinion. Just, this is a really smart arrangement, even if it's not my favorite. It does a lot of things very, very intelligently and creates emotional response in a way that is very, very smart, in a way that I appreciate, even if the song itself and the whole package isn't going to be in my top 5, even maybe even top 10 Geoff songs. But just really, really cool stuff that he's doing here, where you can feel the tension that he's building into this next release, which is him jumping into the tenor mode. Like listen to the background only. That just building a tension, that crescendo that's going on there, making you feel like something is about to happen, and then it does, and it's Geoff jumping a full octave, I think, into this tenor voice that sounds much more akin to Chris Isaac, that almost makes you feel at home if you know and are a fan of the original song. The harmonizing is beautiful here. Easy to say that. That right there, I think, is actually really cool. I really like that. If I recall, that is not in the original one. So he purposely wrote in an extended sound, or sound, and did this almost in a way. It felt like it was designed that way, but also felt like he was riffing, which is, I think, again, smart writing. So he just adds this in to, again, it's a combination of building tension. Part of it's just to kind of show off a little bit, which, I mean, yeah, he's showing off a little bit here, showing off his range, showing off his skill. I'm not shaming you, man. It's great. Please do it more. So just really, really cool. I really like that kind of that jump and like the rise up and the rise down, the peak and the valley that he does in this high tenor voice, which I'm not going to try to mimic right now. Really nice resolution on that. And then he immediately goes back into something more akin to the original song. Really, really like that. And then he just resolves back to where he started his song. It's just so smart. Beautiful harmony.
Nobody loves no one.
Yeah, so mainline Geoff here ends up right back where he started the song, which I think on the exact same note, if I heard it correctly. Really cool, really smart. Like I said, overall, in the overall package, I don't know if this is one of my favorite Geoff ones, but from an arrangement and like musical nerd standpoint, there's a lot of really interesting and cool things going on with this. So from a approach of like musicality and wanting to look at this like a friggin' music nerd, I really like this cover. As someone that enjoys Geoff's work and really loves his singing voice, that I aspire to even be a tenth of good at. Not my favorite arrangement. It's kind of weird in a way to feel like that, I think, because again, there's so many cool things that he's doing musically and with the arrangement and how he approached the song that I really like how he did it, and I respect the effort that he put into it. And then just something about the whole package for me doesn't click. It's really weird. Not that it's bad. I think this is a great cover, and a lot of people will say this is one of their favorites of him. It's because maybe they're huge fans of Wicked Game or whatever the case may be. That's just my opinion on it, though. Again, not to say that this is poor. I will probably go back and listen to this song again in the future. And it's an interesting song to pick for a Valentine's Day release. So overall, I think this was a very interesting piece to go back and analyze, but I don't know if it's one that I think is really interesting to listen to on a consistent basis. It's not going to be, some of his other work. If we look back, it's not even going to be like Jack's Lament. Obviously, I love that. I wasn't a big fan of his Blue Christmas, but that has nothing to do with him. It's all to do with Blue Christmas, I think, being a really not great song. But even like Folsom Prison Blues, I've gone back and listened to once or twice, even though I'm not the biggest country music fan at all. Like, I'm very much not listening to that music in my free time. But like, it's, I don't know. I'm struggling to kind of find the words with it, so I'm not going to try to ramble about it until I find them. I'm just going to go ahead and end the video here. Really fun analytical song to kind of break in and get dove deep into, but not my favorite to just sit down and listen. I think that's just going to be my opinion on it. But thank you, Geoff, either way, for making this. Like, I love the fact that you make this work, and then that allows me to make these videos. So I'm not here if he's not doing these. So I still appreciate him and Kathy for doing all the work that they did on this to bring this to us. And I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to do in March or April, whenever his next solo release is going to be. And I'm very curious to see what voice play is going to do. And so, like, I'm still very much on board with that. And I'm not saying that I'm off the Geoff train. Like, this wasn't my favorite, and that's okay. But I'm still looking forward to what he's doing, and I still appreciate the fact that he did this so that I could then turn and make this video. So that's the end of this one, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to like, share, subscribe to the channel, share this with your friends, share this in your Discord server, share this in Snapchat, text your parents, whatever you want to do. And until the next video, I'll see you all next time. Please stay safe, have fun, listen to great music. I love you all.